I kind of get it. Sometimes there is a status attached to you, telling someone I have a warehouse. It makes your business kind of look very, very, there already, like printing money. When you tell somebody I'm operating from my living room, it looks kind of yeah, you are just starting off. And because of that, some of us are kind of placed under this pressure of just taking a warehouse, even though it's not the right time for you. Guys, I'm telling you, you have to understand something. There is a cost attached to you having a warehouse. Sometimes, you, depending on which location you are in, there is a special kind of tax that you have to pay if you operate from the warehouse. And also understand that you also have to pay the rent for the property that you are staying. If you are lucky, you might get something for like, I'm talking about here in Germany, for like 350 euros or 400 euros a month. That cost, it's independent of whether you make sales or not. And some of us, we do not factor in this into our processes. It's possible that in the first month everything was kind of bubbling. Because of that, you felt, okay, my business has arrived, I can actually put this cost to my business. The same thing applies to you having a car, having a car for your business. All right, so we do not think about this. We go out, we sign a contract for a warehouse, and before you know it, 6 months or 4 months or 5 months down the line, we begin to realize that, look, this was an expense that wasn't necessary. It's actually possible to run your reselling business from your living room, from your kitchen, from your garage, if you are fortunate to have one. I'm telling you, it all depends on how you plan to run your business. If you have put very good systems in place, I am telling you that it is possible. I have tried everything. I have done my reselling business, me selling my computers from my kitchen, from my sleeping room, from my parlor, from my passageway, my balcony, and then I moved to the garage, and from the garage I moved to the warehouse. Guys, I'm telling you that I can compare and contrast the differences. Yes, if you have a garage, you kind of have more space, but one thing I have come to find out is that the more space you have, the more the possibility that you are going to be having dead piles. Yeah, you tell yourself, okay, now I have space to just junk things on the side. Back in the days when I had dead piles in my garage, everything was pretty much full. So I was really making sure to ensure that I didn't have items that were not going to sell, because the more items you put in, you are taking the little space that you have. And I'm telling you, I even had more discipline then, getting items that I do not need. All right, but one thing I constantly had to struggle with was me constantly arranging and rearranging the space that I had. At the time, it was my garage. It was the same thing when I was using my kitchen, my living room. Every day I was wasting time moving something. Don't get it twisted. There are going to be benefits of you operating from a warehouse, but I'm just saying that, look, you have to be aware that that cost is real, and sometimes the profit that you are just looking for in the end of the month is just that amount that you are paying for your warehouse. For some of us, the profit that we are looking at from our reselling business is just going to be there about 600 euros a month or 500 euros a month. And if you have already committed to a warehouse, you now have a situation where you are doing the business and you are just working around the clock. At the end of the day, you're going to take whatever you have made from the business to pay your your warehouse cost, and you are back to zero, and you continue again. Of course, you having a warehouse gives you a lot of opportunity to actually expand your business. There are so many things that you can actually do in you having that that warehouse space. I'm thinking currently of setting up a service where I will be able to get inventories from other resellers and ship them out. It's kind of a fulfillment service that would not be possible if I didn't have a warehouse space. But understand that there are layers to it. It took me a long time to actually get where I am now. Some of us will take a look at some other resellers because everybody seems to be talking about me having a warehouse. I moved to a new warehouse. Because of that, you just feel like it's part of what you need to do or to be successful in reselling. I'm telling you here today, it's not necessary. Take a look at the expenses that you run on your business. Take a look at how much is a realistic profit that you should expect at the end of the month, and because of that, a month, and with these figures, decide for yourself if you having a warehouse is going to be the best thing for your business at this time. And one thing that you should also understand is that you might not be so fortunate to have a warehouse that's just 1 kilometer from your house address. So if you sign up a leasing contract or you sign up a warehouse contract and this warehouse is like 15 kilometers from your house, you have just given yourself a new kind of job, which will mean that every day, or depending on how often you want to go to that warehouse, you have to first drive 15 kilometers to the warehouse space, and when you have finished, you have to drive another 15 kilometers back to where you live. That's another cost, a little bit of, another inconvenience. All these things you are ultimately, going unnoticed. But the thing is, when you are warming up to, to get a warehouse space, sometimes we do not think about all the inconveniences that's going to come with it. There's going to be wear and tear on your car. There's going to be extra expenses for you to tank the car, driving back and front. And yes, you are still going to be paying, the warehouse rent, irrespective of whether you make profit or not. I just felt like I should put this out there because I understand that the warehouse thing is kind of one thing that makes people want to feel like their business is kind of successful or killing it. But understand that you have to be careful before you commit to getting a warehouse space. Until I see you again in the next video, peace out.